So I took a recent visit to the Cleveland Metro Parks Zoo over the holiday weekend. And I was looking forward to a full day of fun, cotton candy, seeing the cute little animals. But did you know that more than just having fun and seeing cute little animals, there are great benefits to visiting the zoo, which will help you to live your very best life. Stay right there. Hello. Welcome to the Cleveland Metro Parks Zoo. I am just going to feature a few snippets of some wonderful creations we saw, and some that are pretty unusual, some that are pretty typical, but nonetheless they're all beautiful.
Alright, we're going to start turning our human walkway into an elephant walkway because our keepers are here to help us get started. This morning, so let's start meeting our elephants. We're going to start with Callie. Callie is the tallest of our female elephants. Shanga. Now compared to Callie, Shanga has very short tusks, and that's by no help from our keepers. The elephants tend to have their tusks at whatever length they're comfortable with. Martika also has some shorter tusks, but compared to Shanga, she's got a pretty smooth forehead. He weighs almost 15,000 pounds. Right?
Now check that thing out. And just like you're staring at the screen right now, trying to figure out what it is, we were as well. It looks like a mixture of a goat. The back end actually looks like a human, interestingly. But what it is, it's called a tarkin. Now, I had never seen a bear up close and personal, let alone a grizzly bear. And you guys see, he is just the rawest looking creature. I loved watching him. I had to put this on repeat because the rest of the video died. I don't know what happened, but he was absolutely amazing. In the world. was in there. It could be a human in there. Dang, oh my God. So there you have it, my little review of the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo. I enjoyed it. We stayed from the time it opened until 2 hours before closing time. So that was roughly 6 hours. We enjoyed every bit of it, and I can't wait to go back. So I want to share with you guys a few things that I wrote down that are beneficial and that actually connects a visit with the zoo and your overall well-being and living your very best life. So one of the first things I wrote down is that it promotes bonding, either couples bonding or family bonding. And I went with my bae to the zoo, and that was the first time we'd ever gone to the zoo together. And just seeing all those animals, he was in awe at some of the animals. I was in awe at some of the animals. So yeah, get your bond on, go to the zoo. Another thing or another reason to visit the zoo that would help you and be beneficial for you is that there's always something going on. I mean, I don't know if this applies to every city, but at least in the city of Cleveland, there's always something like fall festivals. There's an Asian Lantern Festival, which is starting in 2 weeks. There's live entertainment, which is every single weekend through the summer. Different type of walks. In fact, we'll be doing a walk on the 9th for, I can't think of the name of it, but it's like a walk in commemoration of those we may have lost in death. It's sponsored by the Hospice of Western Reserve. So that's a really good cause. And it's just a lot of great things to do, a lot of great things going on there at the zoo. Another thing that I thought would be a good reason to visit the zoo, it really opens our eyes to what's going on in our environment, or it really makes us, or should make us, want to care more about how we affect what happens in our environment. Looking at these animals, especially the ones we had never heard of before or never seen before, it blew me away because, well, for one, even though I love the zoo and I know what the intent is, I kind of felt bad that these animals were taken from like their natural habitat and brought here just for exposition purposes or exhibition. EXHIBITION. Yeah, girl, I passed English. But, other than that, I mean, it makes you aware of these animals, remembering that they are living souls. They have feelings. They matter. I'm struggling with this vegan lifestyle, trying to stick with it. I fall off often, then I hop back on, then I fall off, then I hop on, then I fall off and fall off again. And just looking at the animals makes me really, really not want to eat them. That's just me. No judgment on anybody else who may be a carnivore, but it just makes me think of that. And it makes me want to respect the animal kingdom a lot more than I have been. Another benefit of visiting the zoo that can help you get your best life is you work it. It was like we walked all over Egypt or something. We were walking. I just told you guys we were there from the time it opened at 10 a.m. through 4 p.m. That is a lot of walking. We stopped twice to use the restroom and get the bite to eat, but we were all over the place. You definitely get your exercise, especially if you go on a day where it's warm out. You want, to drink your water, you're thirsty, you're walking some inclines and little tiny bridges and little steps and things like that. You definitely get your workout in. And not only are you working out, but you're working out in nature, like it was intended, like we were placed in this original garden with animals. So we're all together on this planet, in this space called the zoo, with the foliage, with the animals, with the air, and all that. So that's the best kind of exercise. That's the most beneficial way of working out. I know I said this, I touched on it, but I wrote it down a little differently. Visiting the zoo increases your knowledge of certain animals. Like the Tarkin, we were like, what in the world was that? Like, whoever heard of it? It was like a freak of nature. I had never seen it a day in my life. A reindeer, I never knew they really existed, but apparently they really do. So just having the knowledge of certain types of animals or types of animals helps you, or helps me, to appreciate them a lot more. Being closer to these animals than you otherwise would be, was a plus to me. Another thing I wrote down, which is beneficial for visiting the zoo and contributing to your best life, is that it decreases stress levels. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm one that stresses pretty easily, and I'm still working on that, but stress is not or controlling stress isn't always my strong suit. The visit to the zoo is soothing because you're so in awe watching the activities, the movements, the goings on with these animals. Well, the tigers, for instance, and the lion and the lioness, they kind of just sat there and looked at us and then laid down and all that. So there was really nothing going on with those. But some of the other ones, just watching them, we watched, what do you call it? Bats. We saw bats. So what they did, he's so wrong for this, but we were in the rainforest and it was very, very dark. So I assumed that was where the bats were. And he takes his cell phone, the flashlight on his cell phone, and puts it up against the glass. And you see these little black feet hanging down from the vine or wherever they were. And they were upside down. And I knew that they were bats. And so the one, he turned around like, oh no, he didn't. Looked him right in the eye like, dude, am I messing with you when you're sleeping? Leave me alone. But it was really interesting seeing them like that, when they were sleeping. And then they were stretching their wings because he was obviously disturbing their sleep. So that was pretty cool. And back to exercising too. When it comes to you're at the zoo and you have to walk. You have to take steps to walk up inclines, declines, things like that. But you don't realize you're working out. You don't realize you're exercising because you're so in awe about, whoa, did you see that falcon? Or, whoa, did you see that? So I like that more than anything because I'm trying to work out regularly and I hate working out with absolute passion. Because even if it's like 5 or 10 minutes, it's like I hate it because I know I'm working out. I mean, I know it's good for me, but I don't want to know that I'm working out. So when you're at the zoo, it just makes it that much easier not to know. And so that was pretty cool. So consider that when you're considering doing walks or runs or even biking. Go to the zoo. Go through there. It's a beautiful thing. One thing I noticed and one thing that I consider to be beneficial by going to the zoo, my son's dog is named Zeus. And so I said Zeus instead of the zoo, but y'all get the picture. So one thing I observed, and again, that I consider beneficial about going to the zoo, is that all of the animals were eating green food. They were eating grass, hay, celery, apples. They were eating all plant foods. And so you guys saw those clips I posted at the beginning of the video. These aren't little tiny frail creatures. These are huge creatures. One elephant, the male, was 15,000 pounds and as tall as the gate in the crossing. And they were feeding him hay and he was eating grass and apples and things like that. So for me, that's a very beneficial thing because I think as Homo sapiens, we forget that was our original food. Our original foods were not the animals that we are in awe of or that we admire, but our original foods was the things that they eat. So that was encouraging for myself, being reminded of that and how I should be eating based on what I've learned and what I've experienced, what I've applied. So that's something to think about when you guys go to the zoo. Check out what these animals are eating. They don't need doctors and physicians and all that. And typically, unless they're a household pet, they typically don't get sick because they're in the wild eating what the wild provides. And they're all good. Another reason to visit the zoo and that could be beneficial to you and help you to get your best life is that you may love animals. If you love animals, the zoo is where you need to be. Obviously, but even more than that because, it's not like you love cats only or dogs only. You may love all types of animals. You may not realize that you love animals as much as you do until you step foot in the zoo. And it'll just boost your morale, make you want to be a better version of yourself, to treat the environment a little better than you have been treating it, and just to get your best life, to start doing what's best for you, to get out in the open more, outside more, experience things more, so that, you could just come to a better state of well-being altogether. Another benefit to visiting the zoo, I think, is something different. That was exactly what Bay said. He said it was something different when we decided we're going to have our date night or date day. And, you know, I thought I totally agreed. Everybody goes to the movies, everybody goes to dinner, and that's fine. No hate, no shade. But something like the zoo, like, you know, that is different. It's great. You know, all these other people, again, the experience, everything I mentioned before this, it's just something different and cool. So in closing, I wanted to say, like I alluded to a little earlier, initially I was not happy with the fact that, you know, these animals were all taken from Africa and brought here to be on display. I mean, it's a beautiful thing because we can't all get to Africa. I get that. But it just makes me appreciate, okay, where I come from. Obviously, I am of African heritage. And obviously, I should be eating foods that were provided for the African genetic genome or African makeup. I should be eating the food from Africa, in other words. So that's really how God intended it for me and for all of us, because life began there in the continent of Africa. And so it just really, really makes me appreciate where I'm from, the life that I'm trying to achieve for myself. And that is the best life, not to have the best in the sense that, you know, I'm a billionaire, I have a mansion. Not in that sense, but just the best version of myself. That is including taking better care of myself, what I eat, things I watch, things I listen to, places I go, things I reflect on or think about. You know, whatever is good is what I'm trying to achieve. So that is what I want for you. I cannot say that enough. I've said that to you guys. If you look at all the other videos, that's pretty much the bottom line. You deserve what's best for you. You know what's best for you. And it's your body and your life just deserves a fighting chance to give it the best. And you don't have to have a bunch of this and a bunch of that to have your best life. Peace of mind beats anything. Trust and believe. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the animals. You can get to the zoo real soon. It'll be well worth it. Throw some sunglasses on, throw a cap on, some tennis shoes, and just go take it all in. Trust me, you will not be sorry. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, subscribe, and I'll see you at the next video. Another thing I found pretty cool, fun, and interesting, and beneficial for visiting the zoo was that they have like a little amphitheater, and they, for a 2-hour window out of the time that they're open or during business hours. Oh my God, what happened to my neck? Okay. True blooper. Anyway, another thing I appreciated about the Cleveland Metro Parks Zoo was that they have an amphitheater, an outside theater, where 2 hours out of the, where for 2 hours, they give shows. And one other thing I found, I know I mentioned this before, but I did find beneficial, is that this guy, that guy, where you at, babe? That guy. So, he has something to say, and I'm tired of talking, so I'm gonna let him do what he do. Baby, you so tall, your head is cut off.